then before that, I would love to kind of get into this whole, like, this huge dial of like how to use the Conversions API, and that, like you said
Yeah,
yesterday,
the
not
range.
all,
Yep.
copies are created equal.
Yeah, so
So
let's take a
yeah.
pass at that. So let's start at the very top. Let's assume for a second that we're talking about an e-commerce brand and there's some sort of path to purchase, some sort of funnel. Ideally, you want to have a CAPI connection that is sending events all along the funnel. So this is somewhat oversimplified, but let's assume an ad is clicked, you go to a landing page. There you'd want to have a page view. Then someone traverses your site, they find a specific shoe or sunglasses or whatever you sell, but they're on a single product page. Boom, that's the second ping. Now you want to have a view content. They add to cart, now you get an add to cart event. They add their purchase information, they check out, like boom, 5 different steps to the funnel. So a poor CAPI connection is not tracking all of those steps. That would be like the first thing is, whoa, you're not even getting all the events. I've seen some installs where you get the page view and then you get the purchase, and your funnel, there's a lot of holes in your funnel. So that's one potential problem. The second problem is you want to send as much data as you can each step of the way, with the exception of that first step. So, all right, I landed on a landing page. That's simple. That's a page view. As soon as I get to the product level, if I'm going to send a view content event, I want to know what that content was. What's the product ID? What's the name? What's the price? What's the color? So again, even if you're not using the dynamic catalog ads, all that information is training Facebook, and it's saying, hey, this person whose identity we figured out, they are on this site and they're clicking on blue shirts. They're clicking on, paisley ties. They're clicking on, leather sneaker, whatever it might be. That's training Facebook. This is what this person's interested in. And that is critically important. And that's important on view content, add to cart. You want to know the value of all the objects in the cart, and definitely on purchase. So I've seen a lot of CAPI installs where, okay, maybe they're getting the full funnel, but you look at the payload of data that's being sent and it's not including all that product information, which is critically important. And then let's take it one step further. So, step 1, get the whole funnel. Step 2, make sure you're passing all the right product information with each event. But what's most important is the whole purpose of sending it to Facebook is Facebook has 80% of all internet users using one of Facebook's tools. I mean, there's like 2 billion Facebook users, or maybe even more at this point, across the whole suite of Facebook Inc. platforms. And the whole point of sending this data back is it needs to be tied to an identity. So if all I'm sending is the product information, Facebook knows everything about the product, but it's a big question mark as to who did the click, who is on the website. So you also want to pass things that can be tied back to an identity. And we can go deep down the rabbit hole. But the short version is, best case scenario, you're sending all the information about the browsing session. So, the Facebook cookie, you're sending the IP address, you're sending what browser they're using. And that's important because Facebook has all that same information on their platform. So if I click an ad on Instagram and it says, oh, Noah's on XYZ IP address, Noah's using Safari version 16.1, well, then all of a sudden they get a ping from a website and those things match. Oh, there's a pretty good chance it's Noah. If you also pass my email address, my phone number, my name, okay, now you're definitely gonna get a match. And if you pass like a Facebook click ID, a Facebook session ID, very high probability that's gonna match as well. So this is the key thing that we do with our product is not only do we go to the upper limit of capturing all that information as soon as it's available, protecting it with incredible care and consideration, and making sure we send as much of it as possible, but we also log all the data that we're ever sending to Facebook, we're logging in our server so that it's not a black box. Like, we expect we're going to be audited. We let our customers see their own data log, and you can see, hey, what happened with my, Labor Day sale? Why is my attribution X, Y, or Z? Well, like, we can send you the whole log of every single purchase that you sent, and you'll see what percent had a Facebook click ID, what percent had an email, what percent had a phone number. And when you start to see all that, not only is it nice and it's transparent and, you feel like you understand what's happening, but there's insight in there. And you might say, well, geez, on this campaign versus that campaign, we had a higher Facebook click ID. How do we get that higher? What do we do to increase that? Or we had more emails matched higher up in the funnel. We got emails passed with view content. How do we do more of that? Well, a lot of sites are using a pop-up where, you get to a page and it pops up and says, hey, Noah, to save 10% off, put your email in. I highly recommend that every brand does that, because now we're capturing email before they check out. So again, there's a lot of detail in there, but those are sort of like the levels of the game. So, again, not
Yeah.
all CAPI connections are equal. And if you can do all of those things, you're going to be sending more data, better data, and higher match rate data.